discuss what they're curious about.
You folks are easy to work with. Thank you.
So Scott's
What do you guys do there?
so we were like us with kids. And it was about taking horseback riding. You can do horseback riding.
So, where are you standing here?
I guess so.
And we're sitting here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine. How many choices?
No, I'm going with what you got, man.
Yeah, I don't want to be like the Imperial Grand Poobah here.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to just move this chair back, Nancy, but yeah, I don't have to stand there. It's fine.
And the snakes and like,
Yeah, just fun for us.
yeah. Yeah, I think we're going.
Borderline questions
We've
or
gone to Tampa, but I've never been out west, so.
out of curiosity, maybe I
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
But I didn't know you were big this
Oh, yeah.
You would go want to see,
Oh, yeah. I would go see.
spring training.
Is there anything you want me to ask you? I mean, I know they're going to ask you. Are there any questions you want me to ask you, Kristen? No, it's like, ask me questions I can't answer. Is it the same questions?
Yeah, because Kelsey gave us how.
Hey Dennis, can you hear me?
Oh, that's second.
Can you hear me now?
All right. No, I mean, if there's anything else that comes up, it's fine. But Kelsey gave me a call.
Okay,
and kind of-
as long as everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
And feel free to, you know. Brother?
I want you to look good for your first MC, so I'm going to cooperate. Okay?
You want to cooperate? You do this. I'm just so proud of my league right now, but that's okay. God is good.
Yeah,
God is
you'll do
good.
fine.
Hey, Kath, how's your face with the tooth? Yeah? You made it? Good for you. Boom.
And I'm a little weird.
I know you said. I read that on Facebook. Went, oh.
Are you in the
Then, depending on who they are, then it's fine. But I would say most people are back. I'd say that an average day, like today, I have one person back. All new patients have to be. And our rehab patients have to be.
No.
Oh, you're first. Okay.
It's different for you with your local.
We'll see. We'll see.
They're where they can use adult therapists, and they were trying to go widen the geographic area. Look, virtual is fine, like if it works. When I've done conferences, I'm okay with it. But I don't do mental health, like I don't do, I'll do follow-up sometimes.
If they're ready to work, right? Like if they're willing, that's great, right? But half the time, no. I mean, well, think about kids and teenagers first of all, right? So when they work in my office, they're never. They just wouldn't even. It's not even, very rarely like to like rarely, like every other kid would never even take it. But virtual, they think I can't tell, but I can tell. I can tell when they're like, so it's already so fast. Right, and it's a half hour. So, they either like,
Yeah, so
and the parents are like, they have a contractor come to the house, and it's like, okay, I mean, it's your time, but like, I can't then wait another 10 extra minutes, like, so I feel like that's, the dog is barking, it's just like, it's not taking us seriously, and there is something to showing up to it and being there for that reason, so like, not everyone can do it, like, there's some people who do it really well, and it's not an issue.
Yeah, I think, some of them.
see what happens.
parents, people showing up, I think are, do seem, for the 20 minutes.
And then when you stream it, you stream straight.
I don't find that to be awful because, right? And then the last two times you're like, oh, well, you're
Okay, so it saves. So people
like,
get
at least for the last 10
That's
minutes,
good.
like, you're on medicine.
What? Great. I'll tell.
I see that.
Send it.
Even if you tell me you're going to give us right? Like, that's why I want to hear and start issues. But I
While I'm thinking about it. I have to do it while I'm thinking about it, or else it ain't gonna happen.
So little things, what are the minutes?
So I started at 19 visits. And my style is like, I want to hear the parent and the kid talk together. The parent will lead to the exam, and then I can hear the kid's version. But if I spend the whole time with the kid talking, you have to
Right,
the parent
exactly.
comes
And
in,
then
they're like,
40
they-
minutes later, you're like,
they
wait a
drop the
second.
hammer, and they're like, he's failing.
Yes.
I'm like, what?
Yes, right. Well, that's exactly. And then the mom's like, and then I was like, all right, and what interview have you had before? She's like, well, not that, right? And she's like, so, but then, I checked his weight. My son doesn't tell me, he stops weight. And so that determines that, like, I'm not concerned, like, to this time, like, you don't get that, right? And their scales are different than mine, like, so then you're not really sure.
But he is in maybe dropped that working the most place. So we go through, I'm like, oh, great. And now I'm like, I've been so sorry.
Yes.
And I was like, I just think it's like so easy. Oh, you hurt yourself. Like, it's not fall. He's like, well, actually. And then,
Oh, yeah, that's right. 2 weeks
every
ago.
piece, and he was like, and then he told the story, and he's like, he skidded along, chased him, ran into a ditch. Okay, and I'm like, and then I was like, yeah, and then I keep endo, and I'm like, he's like, well, actually, I'm like, dude, you're killing me.
Leaving breadcrumbs.
Okay, folks, we're on in about 30 seconds here.
Awesome. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Nice driving.
All right, Nancy, you're on.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. My name is Nancy McKay, and on behalf of the Faith Community Nursing Ministry here at Montgomery Evangelical Free Church, I'd like to welcome each of you to our Resilience program. And the panelists who will be sharing their expertise on this subject include Kristen Schiro, did I got it? Who is the Executive Director of Empower Somerset, and Dr. Bhalla, who is a board-certified child, adolescent, and adult psychiatrist, and Dr. Mandelbaum, did I get that?
Pretty good.
Who is a school pediatrician. He also is a practitioner at Nassau Pediatrics, yes? And Reverend Timothy Wolf, who pastors New Horizon Christian Fellowship, and he also has served as the director at Pioneer Family Success Center in Somerville. So this topic, mental health stressors and resilience, was a recommendation of our health ministry team, which is part of Faith Community Nursing. This came up back in February, and we decided we really needed to address this topic in this community. We were tossing around a bunch of ideas and realized this was really a mammoth project, and so we reached out to Devanji Patel. Where's Devanji? There she is in the back. Devanji, for those of you who don't know her, she's the health officer in the Montgomery Health Department. So she joined our team, and we planned this program together, and we decided we wanted to have a panel discussion with professionals who have dealt with mental health issues in this community and who are familiar with resources, so you don't just go away learning about mental health stressors and not knowing how you might be helpful to people who are dealing with this. And now I'd like to introduce our pastor, Pastor Brian. He has been very much involved with this, and we were really grateful for his support. And he's going to be the facilitator for the panelists this evening.
Thanks. Well, welcome, everyone. We are glad to have you here, and we are so pleased that you've all taken time. I know you're all busy people, and you have a heart for our community, so thank you so much for that. And I do want to thank those of you who put it together. Kelsey, Grenis, thank you so much for all your work, and Devangi, thank you for that. And Lori Hoff, Municipal Alliance, she does a great job. Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight as well. We just want to get right to what we're doing. We're concerned about the mental health in our society, the challenges that are upon children, teen, even adults, and we want to be part of the cure. And so that's why we're here tonight. And I just want to jump right in. And so we want to have Dr. Mandelbaum, our pediatrician, if you'd give us a presentation, please. And I want to thank you for what you've done. I've attended meetings that you've been there, and people really rely on your word and your judgment. So thank you for that, brother.
Thank you. It's a lot of pressure, but thank you. Happy to be here, and I think the first test will be to see if these slides work. So let's see.
Scooch over closer,
Yeah.
because I can't see.
Sorry, bud.
All right, we got, and let's see. All right, and can you see it up here? I can see that screen there. All right, good. Dr. Bhalla, can you see it?
Yeah, I'm just going to lean in.
Yeah, that's fine. So thank you guys for coming. It's nice to see people in person again. It's, I think, part of the issue is, it hasn't helped the last 2 years, the isolation, but we'll talk a little bit about that. So this is Dr. Bhalla and I will kind of co-discuss this topic in broad strokes. Happy to answer any questions at any point in time, and afterwards, any specific questions you guys have. This is clearly a huge topic that we could spend hours discussing, but we thought it's helpful to at least kind of steer the discussion. So just to start, and I might have to, we'll see how well this works. We'll see. Yeah, they will see. All right, so let's just start with, I'll stand as I'm doing this so I could point, some of the mental health data. So I think everyone is here, and I don't know, can you guys hear me? Oh,
Come over here, brother. You okay with that?
thank you.
Sit down if you want.
Oh, no, it's okay. And Dr. Bhalla, you have the mic, so you could just
I'm good,
join
thank
in.
you.
So I'll move this along. So we are, the first portion of this, just to kind of show you some data very quickly, and the point of the data is to drive home the kind of importance of this topic and why we're here today. And so in 2018, you could see that data up on the slide, and give or take 20% of kids reported that they had some mental health disorder. You could see some of the breakdown in there, and this is from the CDC. Yeah. How about I say next slide, and we'll do that. Next slide. There. All right. In 2019, data came out, and it was looking at suicide attempts for an 8-year span. Next slide. Thank you. And what they showed was that there was a doubling. So we went from 500,000 suicide attempts in 2008 to almost 1 million suicide, or a little over 1 million, in 2015. And that's nationally. So we saw that, but if you go to the next slide, I'll show you what our area looked like. So one of my roles is, since 2010, I'm the chair of the Department of Pediatrics at Penn Medicine, Princeton Health, the old Princeton Hospital. So this is our ER data in terms of kids who showed up in the ER with either a suicide attempt or a intentional drug overdose or something that would fall under the umbrella of a mental health issue. And you could see that those numbers basically doubled in the same time span. So it was not just a national issue, it was the same stuff that we were facing here. If we go to the next slide. And then in 2018, we look back again, and then it had from 2007 or 2008 to 2018, it had almost tripled. So in that 3-year time span, the numbers kept coming up. So this is getting us close to where we were kind of pre-COVID. Next slide. And we could stop here. This is from 2019, I believe. It's hard for me to see from this far, but and what it was talking about was the increasing suicide rate in 2019 compared to prior years. And the big one, I put an arrow there. If you look, so there was a close to a 50% increase in suicidality in teenage girls. Next slide. CDC started to report on this. This is March of 2022, so this is this past year, and it was really starting to highlight the same data. We'll see if I could move this. And then this is all, these next slides were showing you that this is being picked up in typical media. You're not alone, suicide attempts, this is talking about that same data, a 50% increase in suicidality. Next slide, thank you. And again, this is just highlighting this. This is September of 2022, saying there was a 50% increase from 2019. Next slide. And really talking about that, what we're looking at is suicide as the main driver of kind of teenage mortality at this point. Next slide, please. And then when we're looking at not just kids, just talking about the families that we're taking care of and mental health use, and you can look over the last 3 years at those bars in every age group, depending, no matter how you kind of look at the demographics, an increase in mental health utilization. Next slide. And it's not just suicides. We were just talking right before this about kind of a unintentional drug overdoses. So there's unintentional ones and intentional ones, and as we see more substance use, we'll see increases in both, but unintentional overdoses spiked during the pandemic. Next slide. And then this one tackling, and this just came out, 3 and 14 so faced potentially traumatic events during the pandemic. They broadly define those traumatic events, but so things I think we were somewhat insulated from, but in communities where there were lots of job losses, there was lots of food insecurity, and so this was felt worldwide, but this throughout the U.S. Next slide. And then the American Academy of Pediatrics just came out. They wrote a letter to President Biden saying, we need to do something. This is a national emergency. Next slide. And you guys are here, so the data now is saying that close to 90% of people believe that there's a mental health crisis, so 10% of people who don't think that there's one. Next slide. And then we're going to get into, in a moment, maybe why that is, and that's more of a discussion, and some of the things we could do. But one of the things the reasons that people don't go to get help is that there is a huge cost to this in the United States. So it is